even though that doesn't include me, but I'm sure there's people out there in the world that didn't really like the first one all that much and may have felt left down. Hey everyone, and welcome to Why Are You Still Here, the show where we talk about whatever we want. And today we're talking about Fantastic Beasts 3, The Secrets of Dumbledore. Now I say we, really it's just me, and there's no big conspiratorial reason for that. It's just simply Lucas didn't see the movie and I did, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys. So, that's the simplest way to put it, right?
You abandoned me!
I'm going to break this review up into two different sections. I'm going to start it off as non-spoiler. So anybody out there that is watching this that has yet to see the movie, feel free to watch the first part of this review. I will make it explicit when I start changing into the, spoilery details. So you can get out of here, right? Or you could stick around. I would not recommend it, but I'm not your boss. I'm not a police officer. I'm not your parents, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, this particular movie is directed, yet again, surprise, surprise, by David Yates. Give the man a break, please. At least for one movie, send him on a vacation somewhere, bring somebody else in, and bring him back after that. I don't know what to say. Not that he's showing any like real fatigue or anything in his filmmaking. I'm just thinking that the guy probably does need a break. I would, at least I would think so. Anyway, so yeah, and yet again, it's also written by J.K. Rowling, but they have made a distinct change from the previous two films and brought Steve Kloves back into the mix, which I think was a good move. And as for the synopsis of this movie, it's really hard to say anything about it without it becoming a spoiler, unfortunately. So the way that IMDb kind of sums it up is just Dumbledore gives a mission or assignment to Newt and his allies in order to stop Grindelwald, and that is the most basic, simplest way of putting it. Unfortunately, if you start going outside of those bounds, it's going to become a spoiler. You'll see why in just a moment. But yeah, this movie was a surprisingly good time. And trust me, nobody is more surprised to hear those words come out of my mouth than me. I mean, this might not be the most popular opinion, but I really loved that first movie. It was a whole lot of fun. I mean, it coming from a longtime Harry Potter fan, more so of the books than the movies, but we won't get into that. I don't want to offend anybody, but yeah, I had a good time with it. I really don't see too many flaws with that first movie. Now, the second one is a completely different story. In my eyes, it's like the Last Jedi of the Harry Potter universe. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I would have considered this movie a success if I didn't want to stick hot nails in my eyes when I left. And I didn't, thankfully. And it was even more so than that, though. I was like, I actually found that to be an enjoyable experience, if you can believe it. Not that it's a perfect movie. There is certainly a whole slew of negatives that I have to say about it, but it was a pretty good time. I mean, is it too long? Absolutely, it's too long. Is it a little bit convoluted? Sure. Yeah, definitely it's convoluted. But overall, it's it's a pretty fun time at the movies.
Mr. Kowalski, we need you.
I said I want an out and I want out.
Ah! You do know I'm a witch, right?
And a real highlight for me, which no surprise to anybody who's a fan of him, but Mads Mikkelsen, he absolutely stole the show. Not that the other cast of characters aren't great as well, just a lot of them were sort of pushed to the background, and he sort of took the forefront and did a really great job. Nothing against Johnny Depp at all. I'm a Johnny Depp supporter. But I just don't think that he really meshed all that well with that character. You know, maybe I'm in the minority with that. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's really anything else before I move into the spoiler section. I mean, it's for any fans out there like me of the first movie, this one certainly fits far more into that mold. Maybe even exceeds it in some ways. You know, that's up to personal preference. And, you know, it became a satisfying experience, especially by the end. I was just like, wow, okay. You know, I don't think that this is really a spoiler, but there's no post-credit scene, you know, no mid-credit scene, nothing like that. So if you go see the movie, as soon as the credits start rolling, you can get out of there, unless you want to sit down and just observe all the people that put, you know, their hard work into this movie, which sure, do that. Yeah, I would give this movie probably, and I put some thought into this, but I'd probably give it either a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10, which comparing that to Crimes of Grindelwald, I would have given that one, man, I don't know, maybe like a 3 out of 10. Honestly, I saw the movie one time and I try to push it out of my mind as hard as I possibly can. So just comparing it to the rest of the series as well, the first one I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 too as well. So, you know, that sort of speaks for itself.
Now, there's absolutely nothing for you to worry about.
Despite what you may have heard, don't listen to it. Make the decision for yourself. Trust me. And despite how you might have felt about the second movie or even the first movie, you know, I mean, think about it. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? That already happened to you if you saw the second one. So don't worry about that. We're past that now, right? We're in the clear. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're good. I would truly urge you to give this movie a shot because you might like it.
Correct. 3 points to Hufflepuff.
From this point moving forward, I'm going to get into some spoilers. So again, if you haven't seen the movie yet, please move along. I'm not trying to be rude, you know, you still like the video or leave a comment or whatever, but I would highly advise you to move along, unless you just like to spoil things for yourself. But let's get into my notes here. So this is one of the first times I actually took notes with a pen, I almost said pencil, with a pen and a piece of paper. I was taking notes, and it's really hard to do, let me tell you, in a completely dark movie theater with a movie that's already pretty dark to begin with. I would not recommend it, I'll tell you that. Like I mentioned, it did a great job of undoing the failings of the second movie. In fact, it goes as far as to undo one very specific plot point, which is the fact that Credence is in fact Aurelius Dumbledore, which again, I only saw that movie one time, and I probably should have done my research to make sure I'm right when I say this, but I think it's heavily alluded to that he's Dumbledore's brother, right?
Your brother.
seeks to destroy you. The name I now restore to you. Aurelius. Aurelius Dumbledore.
At least that's how I interpreted it. And it turns out that that was a complete fabrication from Grindelwald. Credence is in fact a Dumbledore, but he is Albus's nephew and Aberforth's son, illegitimate son. I guess he didn't know about him. You know, I'm not judging. I'm just saying. But yeah, so he is a Dumbledore in, you know, a more reasonable sense, a more easy to swallow sense, if you will. In a lot of ways, this movie reminded me of Rise of Skywalker, and I'm not saying that in a way of being negative or positive. It's up to you to decide how you feel about Rise of Skywalker. I personally think it's an okay movie, as opposed to The Last Jedi, which was, again, another movie that made me want to stick hot nails into my eyes, right? So it was like sort of like it was a movie made in response to a controversial movie in the series. So it is very similar in that sense. And this movie it's quite a lot of fun, notwithstanding the first 20 to 30 minutes or so. I would say the first act is it stumbles a bit along the way, and there were certain moments where I was sort of confused as to what was even going on. And I always naturally kind of want to steer clear of spoilers, but I guess it's fine that I talk about spoilers now, right? I was pretty clear about that. It was everything to do with the fantastical beast of the Chillin. And side note, every single time I say Chillin, it makes me feel like I'm being racially insensitive or something, like I'm putting on a one-man show of Huckleberry Finn or something like that. Am I alone in that, or is there anybody else that feels that way? I'm probably alone in that belief. That's the story of my life right there. And that'd probably be the name of my book. It would be Brandon out on a ledge by himself or something like that. I don't know. So when it comes to the Chillin, in a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of a hippogriff. In fact, that's what I thought it was at first. I didn't quite get when they were saying Chillin that was actually the name of the creature. Maybe I'm just stupid. Probably. But they specifically mentioned that the creature bows. And I was like, well, it's what a hippogriff does as well, when it sort of gives you its approval, you know. But this goes a little bit deeper than that. The Chillin, I guess, sort of possesses the ability to almost foresee the future to some extent. It can see if you are a good person at heart or a bad person at heart, and it will bow to the person that it feels is a good person at heart. And that is how they conduct their elections in the wizarding world, right? So people vote, they still get a vote on, you know, on the decision of the Chillin. It's not like they're just putting all this on the shoulders of an animal, but the Chillin makes its choice out of the two candidates. It bows, and then all the people, the wizards, have to then vote whether or not they support this choice or not, right? But I didn't know any of this at first, and I'm guessing most audience members didn't as well. So I'm just like, why is so much time and focus being put into this animal, right? And this movie makes another distinction from the other two as well, that it really only focuses on a select few fantastical beasts. I mean, the bow truckle, the Niffler and really the chillin'. There might be something I'm forgetting, but that's really all they focus on in this movie, which I'm fine with. For me personally, that was a positive. I like the Fantastic Beasts as much as the next guy, but sometimes it gets a little convoluted, and convoluted is a great word to use for that first act of this movie. I'm just like, oh God, the rumors I heard were true, I guess, huh? This is no better than that second movie. And I just flashed back to 2018 and just sat there. And then it was like, wait a minute, but things are turning around. I'm starting to understand what's happening in this movie now. And I think I like it. What's happening to me. And then I had to go run out once the movie was done and make sure that I still had my sanity. And then I'm like, oh, I guess this movie was actually a good movie. Huh. Okay. And it made me go from going, really? Do we have to have 5 of these movies all together, or 6 of them, or whatever they plan on doing, to going, I kind of want to see where they take this series, in all honesty. They sort of piqued my interest, so to speak. And I will say as well, I don't believe I mentioned it, but because of that second movie, my expectations were like bottom of the barrel, super low. As Lucas has pointed out to me multiple times, sometimes my expectations get the better of me, and I go into even the most ridiculous movies or TV shows with these blown out of proportion expectations. And this time around, I had them very much in check, and I think that might have been to my benefit as well. So that entire last act really had me invested. And a big reason for that is the performances in this movie. So the cast does a pretty good job. I mean, you have the returning characters that you pretty much know are, fun and likable at this point, like Newt as well as Jacob. But, there's some other fun supporting characters as well. But I'd really like to shine the spotlight on Mads Mikkelsen himself. Because it felt like he was born for this role, much more so than Johnny Depp was. And I look forward to see what he ends up doing with this role in the future, because at the end of the day, our enjoyment from this movie, or at least our interest or belief in the event, really hinges on the relationship between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, and the fact that we have to kind of believe that they were friends and possibly lovers. And I didn't get that with Johnny Depp. And not because he's not a fantastic actor, because I believe he is. He's one of my favorite actors, but it was just not a great fit for his, acting abilities, I think, personally. But with Mads Mikkelsen, he has great chemistry with Jude Law. They play off each other very well. There's not a whole lot of scenes the two of them have together, but it certainly is a standout when they do have scenes together. In fact, the movie starts off with a scene of them together, and I was invested. I was definitely invested. And like I mentioned, the other characters don't have a whole lot to do, but they're still good. You get what you've gotten from the previous two, as far as the good parts go, right? So this movie probably could have been 30 minutes to 45 minutes shorter. it's an entire hour before the first action scene. As soon as the action picked up for the very first time in the scene between Credence and Dumbledore in the street, I immediately grabbed my phone. I was respectful, though. I had the brightness turned all the way down, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, this movie has been on for a little bit more than an hour, so keep that in mind. Obviously, that is not a great sign for a movie, but you know, what are you gonna do? And this might be a nitpick, probably is. I understand that they have really sort of hammered home that Grindelwald is somebody that uses a polyjuice potion to change his appearance, but he did so in the first movie because he was like in hiding, and he's no longer in hiding. I mean, the guy runs for political office after all, right? So he's not in hiding anymore. So I just wish that we got like a throwaway line or just a small moment or small scene that explained why he looks different. And I guess it's supposed to just be the same guy, period. I guess that he is supposed to look the same to everybody in this world, not to us. I mean, we're going from Johnny Depp to Mads Mikkelsen, but not just that. I mean, we're going from somebody who had like bleach blonde hair, short hair, to a guy who has like dark hair, a little bit longer, wears it a completely different way, different style, that just has like streaks of gray in it, you know. I guess that might be construed as a bit of a nitpick, but it's something I thought about for sure. And then, you know, just a small little thing. I'm a Slytherin, right? I took the Pottermore quiz and I got Slytherin all the way. So much so that when I took the Pottermore quiz for the Ilvermorny houses, I got Thunderbird, which got me excited at first. I'm like, what is it, like a Gryffindor? And I looked it up and it was like, nope, it's Slytherin as well, basically. So it took me a little bit to accept my fate, but eventually I accepted it, and now I'm rather proud of it. You know, they have some good qualities as well as some bad qualities, but you know, so my whole point of mentioning Slytherin is the fact that, you know, leave my people alone. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Leave Slytherin alone, please.
All right. Yes, the scene with Jacob in, you know, the Great Hall where they give him, you know, nasty candy was, you know, it was funny and it got a chuckle from me for sure, but you know, couldn't you have made it Gryffindors or something that did that? You know, not all Slytherins are bad people, right? I'm a prime example of that. At least I think so. But yeah, that was just a little, you know, little funny thing I thought of there. That I'm a little serious about, but more so just kidding. And at the end of the day, that's really all I have to say about this movie. I wanted this to be a more, you know, just sort of concise, shorter first thoughts than I'm usually known for. I mean, obviously I like to ramble on a lot. But this is a bit of a different format for me that I have to, you know, well, luckily, hopefully I don't have to get used to it. And Lucas will be back for the next movie that comes out. But I had to get used to it for this specific video, and just feels weird to me. I don't like it. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything specific that that I feel like I'm missing out on. All the stuff at Hogwarts I thought was super fun. The first time you see the school and you hear Hedwig's theme, and it was like, ooh, you know, like obviously I know that they're probably trying to pull on my heartstrings, but I'd be lying if I said that it didn't work to some extent. And the music by James Newton Howard was great. He is a composer that I certainly have really admired over the years, and he doesn't disappoint here. I feel like I might have given, you know, a bit of the shaft to Jude Law, and I definitely did not mean to do that on purpose. He is, you know, he is a really good Dumbledore. I wouldn't say he's a great Dumbledore. I think that there is a lot of room there for improvement, but in his defense, we don't see a lot of him, you know. So I feel like he doesn't have as much, you know, to work with, as much substance to work with as maybe they should allow. I don't know. We'll see what they do in the future, and hopefully they do put a bit of, you know, a bit more focus on Dumbledore as a whole, because Jude Law is a really great, accomplished actor, and I would really like to see what he can do with the character. They have a chance here to create the, you know, definitive version of Albus Dumbledore, and they could really drop the ball on that as well. But, you know, for fans like me, however, that are huge into the books and really love those first two movies, since they followed the books probably the best out of the entire series, Richard Harris will always be my Dumbledore. And Michael Gambon, as much as I respect the guy and I have enjoyed him in many things, he will never be my Dumbledore.
I protest!
Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
No, sir.
You asked one of the older students to do it for you?
No, sir.
You're absolutely sure?
Yes, sir.
So there is a real chance here. There's a lot of potential that they should, in all honesty, do some really great things with Jude Law's Dumbledore. So I don't know. We'll see. But I've rambled on long enough, I think. I probably bored the hell out of anybody watching. And I I apologize for that. I hope it wasn't too boring. But let me know. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Did you agree with my points? Did you disagree with my points? Is this your favorite entry in the series? Is it your least favorite entry in the series? Is this Fantastic Beasts series doomed to forever sit in the shadow cast by Harry Potter? Let me know all your thoughts down below. And honestly, in conclusion, out of our 148 subscribers, if only 10 people watch and get something out of this video, then I am completely satisfied by that. So thank you for joining me, and see you guys soon.